Cool. All right, here we go. Hey, so this is your lesson for today. Your lesson for today is this fun game that you're going to play. So you're going to play this game called MarbleSlides on Desmos. Some of you may have used Desmos before. Some of you might not like Desmos. I don't really care. Either way, we're going to play this fun game. It's called MarbleSlides. It's all about lines. So I want you to get in your head. We're going to be talking about lines. Lines, lines, lines. Here's how you do it. So this game is all about getting the marbles to get all the stars. Okay? If you look here, these purple marbles are going to bounce off of these lines. It's going to hit the stars when you hit launch. Okay? And it'll say success if you get all the stars. Perfect. Then you go to the next slide. Click launch. But on this one, that line guides the stars off the screen. I'm sorry, the line guides the balls off the screen and it doesn't get the stars. So we have to move this line down. Okay? So the directions say right over here that we need to change one number in the row below to fix the marble slide. So if you read this right over here on your screen, you can read it when you get to your Desmos. You change one number in the row below. So what it means by change the number is you're either going to change the 1/2 or you're going to change the 1. Okay, I'm going to tell you now that if you change the 1, it'll look like this. So click on it. Let's change it to a 2. And we'll click launch. Okay, obviously the balls don't get the stars. So let's change it to a 3. It's getting worse, right? So now it's getting worse. Change it to a 4. Oh, shoot. So, okay, this might work. Let's see. No, not quite. So you're seeing if we're moving this line up, it's not going to work. So let's try to move it down. Let's go +0. Okay, that's closer. So now let's go -1. Getting closer. Right? Let's go -2. Boom, exactly. So if you change that number on the end, that's going to move your graph up and down. All right? That's good to know for this lesson. The next thing you want to do, oh, okay, here. It's telling you how to reset your screen. So right here, if I were to change this to a 5, but I don't like that I changed it, well, let's pretend like you messed up and you erased your whole equation. You don't know how to get it back. If you need to get it back, you click on the cog, click reset, and it gets your equation back. Okay. Now, here it says to change one number in the row below to fix the marble slide. If you look at your launch, your balls are over here. Okay? So what we need to do is if we move this graph up or down, that's not going to get the balls. So what we have to do is we have to change this number in front of the x. So let's change it to a 2, to a 3, I mean, to see what happens. Okay, let's change it to a 2. Let's change it to a 1. Okay, let's change it to a -1. So none of those are working. Okay, so here's where you need to learn about fractions. So when you have a fraction, let's do 1/2. Aha. So when you put a fraction in front of a letter, what that does is it makes your line less steep. This is called slope. We'll be talking about this next week. Okay, so you'll have to play around with this number in front of the x to change the slope. Okay, if I show you like this, okay, then it's a 1, here's a 2, here's a 3, here's a 4, and here's a 1/2. Okay, 1/3, 1/2. Okay, so then click launch, collect the stars, and you're good. Okay, so here's the last thing I need to teach you for this lesson. Click launch here, and the line ends. The line ends. The reason that the line ends is because they're putting a bound on it. So here it's putting a bound on the x at 4. So it's chopping off the graph at 4. Okay, so here it is, right here, and it's chopping off that graph at 4. All right, so what we need to do is we need to extend that bound. So you're going to take that 4, make it a 5. Launch. Okay, that's not going to work, so let's make it a 6. Okay, so we're moving that bound over. Launch. And there you go. Okay, so we move that bound over to chop the graph off at a different spot. So let's launch. Okay, so it goes too far. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make this bound at a different spot. So let's go with number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Let's try that. No, it's not going to work. Okay, so let's try like 6. Not going to work. Let's try 8. Still need to go bigger. We'll go 9. That should work. Oh no! Okay. So now what do we need to do? So 8 didn't work, 9 didn't work. What do? What we need to do is we need to add another line. We need to add another line. So how do we do that? We gotta add another line by clicking on the 3. Right there. You're gonna click y equals 1/2 x. There's our line. But we need to move it up. So we're gonna go +1, +2, +3. Click launch. Oh! Okay, so now what do I need to change? Okay, I need to make this a 10. That should work. Okay? Then there's some questions for you to ask, to answer. You'll have to rewatch the video if you're not understanding. But I will show you this trick. It says, what if you change the -0.14 to a 2? So I want you to change that to a 2. You can always, instead of answering it right away, instead of making a prediction, you can go to the next, go ahead and change it to a 2. And notice how it changes the graph, okay? So this dashed line right here is the equation that you started with on the previous slide. And then the 2 in front of the x makes it look like that. So you're going to explain right there what happened. Okay, same thing here. Same thing here. Okay, another prediction question. And then there's these final challenges. Okay? So the way that you do these final challenges is you're going to have to find a creative way to get all the stars. However you can do it. But here's what you do. You go y equals 2x plus 1. Okay? And then you have to change this equation. You got to change the numbers. So I'm going to make this a 1. Okay? You got to change the numbers. And eventually you have to get all the stars. Let's go +2, +3, +4, +5. Okay? So now it looks like I'm going to have to cut off my graph. So it looks like I'm going to have to cut it off at 10. So in order to do that, you're going to find your curly brackets. And go x is less than 10. Okay, so that drops off some of my graph. Okay? Then I'm going to go y equals -1 x plus 5. Ooh, I'm going to have to go plus way more. Plus 10, plus 20, plus 30, plus 25. Good. Launch. Okay. So So I got to cut it off at 10. So I'm going to go 10, but going the other way. Like that. Okay. Now the only problem is I have no way of getting this last star. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut off. We're going to have to cut this graph off again. So maybe at 0. Let's cut it off at 4. So the way we do that is you go here. Whoops. Cutting off at 4. I want to go that way. And then here I'm going to cut it off at 15. No, let's do 16. I'm going to cut it off at 16. Okay, that's going to look like this. And I need the balls to come back this way. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to go y equals, make another line. Y equals negative x. Let's go plus 5. Plus 10. Plus 15. Plus 12. Plus 13. Dang it. Okay. So I got to go plus 12. But then I need to change I'm going to have to change my angle of my line. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to have to make this a fraction. So let's go 1/2. Now I got to move it down. And there you go. Okay, so there's your first one. You're going to have to play around with it and work the whole period to finish. Now, once you finish, you work on Alex. Okay, good luck. Nice job, guys.